Hey, it's Drybear, and today I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know to get started in Nuclear Nightmare, which is a first-person, 8-player co-op survival game where you start out as survivors. It's very much The Thing, the game. If you've ever watched the Thing movie, where there's a changeling and you're lost in the wood, lost in the winter, and there's terrible conditions, blizzard going on, and your goal is to start out with up to 8 players and go through and do objectives and then extract. However, there are night cycles where monsters will spawn. They'll come at you. The players can get infected, and once they turn, they become infected, and they can infect other players as well. The map is huge and very hard to navigate with the winter conditions, and as you get separated from players, your proximity chat becomes more and more unavailable, and you'll have to go through and do objectives and eventually extract at the end. But the huge thing is, just like in the movie, you get separated and you lose contact. You're not sure if people are infected at the time. You don't know if they're hunting you. You don't know what's going on. You're just kind of going around collecting loot, getting weapons, and trying to keep yourself alive. If you get infected and stay infected for too long, you might turn into a necromorph-looking infected AI, which will chase players down and hunt them. If you're infected and you die for any reason, you can turn into a player-controlled monster as well, which you have this changeling form. You can move around the map, and you have this infrared vision where you can see other players through walls, and your goal is to try and slow the players down, take them out, or turn them as well, as people turn on each other and try to get more and more confused. And just like in the movie, you can test to see if you're infected or not, as people just get completely confused on what's happening, what objectives are being done, and where the enemies are located. You'll start here at the menu, and you can either start a game or join a game, depending on what sessions are available right now, if someone has a session up, or you can do quick play or start your own match as well. You have tons of options like friendly fire, having monsters spawn at day and nighttime as well. Make sure that there's playable enemies after every death, which means that people don't go into AI. They always get to play a monster. And there's difficulty levels as well, normal, hard, and nightmare, which will trigger guaranteed daytime spawns. Generators are very difficult to deal with, and you can even have more things going on like a shorter nuke timer as well. Once in game, you will spawn at one of the random POIs across the map, and let me tell you, the map is quite big as well. So you can press M in game. These are all the points of interest that you can go, and I'm sure through the early access, they'll add even more, but you can mark these. Once you mark them by clicking on them, they will appear in the world, like world-based locations, so you can actually deal with that and chase those, and you'll notice all the objectives on your map screen on the left side of the screen here. For each ever area that you will go to, you'll be able to do these objectives. This will give you points for unlocking talent perks or other options for cosmetics and things like that. So you'll want to go from place to place, completing these objectives and getting points while also staying alive at the same time. Outside of monsters, there are huskies that walk around. If you get too close to them, they will bite you, but if you have jerky or a perk that allows you to tame them, you'll be able to tame them, and they will guard you, help you find items, and become your companion for the time being. To move between the giant map from POI to POI, you have two options, either a snowmobile or a helicopter. The snowmobile is the most reliable. You can get on the snowmobile here, and you can start the engine, and it has its own flashlight as well, but it does consume fuel. You will either find fuel tanks on the ground, or you can bring it closer to these and actually fill up the fuel for the snowmobile. You get, basically there's enough fuel in a snowmobile to go from one POI to 2 others. So if I went from underground silo to drilling rig, I would use up pretty much the whole tank and would need to refuel it. Each POI has a generator that you will need to turn on. If the generator is off, you will see these emergency lights flashing and alarm going on as well. It's very important that you keep the generators on at each point of interest, because this will unlock electronic doors, allow you access to things like satellites, secret codes, or even just allow you to use the objective at that point. So the lights will turn blue, the lights will turn on, the generator will kick on, and you'll be able to do the objective at that point of interest. However, keep in mind that monsters and enemy players can actually come and knock these out and turn the power off, which will lock electronic doors, which means you have to break them to get out, and it will also disable the ability to do objectives like connecting to satellites, uploading computer files. All of these that require a power or internet will be unavailable if the generator has been kicked out. Anything interactable will be flashing like this with this overlay on it. You'll find tons of items that can be very useful: glow sticks, flashlights, shotguns, magnum revolvers, sniper rifles, things like that. And you'll want to be armed at all times in case a monster finds you out as you're going around. For all objectives in the area, area, you will just have an interact button. So for example, when we come here into this area here in the underground silo, our goal is to take pictures of things. So if we go here to underground silo on the top, we'll see that we actually need to photograph nuke and equipment. Anything that needs to be taken a picture of, you don't need to find a camera. You just have to go up to it and use the interact button, take a picture of it, and you'll notice after a few seconds that we actually got credit for that. And we just need to fill this out, get our points, and then go to the next POI. When the POI is done, we'll get a little marker on the map knowing that it's done, and we'll just have to move from place to place. When you get any kind of weapon that isn't instantly consumed like a grenade, you'll see this bar above it, and that's just the ammo. So if I fire this Magnum, you'll notice that the ammo bar is going down. Once it's fully out, that's it. It's spent. You just want to throw the weapon, be done with it, and get a new weapon. There's no way to reload. You can't find ammo. It's just a limited resource for each of the weapons that you have right now, at least in early access. In the top left corner, you will find your health bar as well as your current temperature. So these are the main things you're wanting to worry about. Whether or not you're infected, what HP you have, and also whether you're freezing to death or not. If you have full HP, it looks like this with a fully empty paper doll there. And as you take damage, a red bar will fill up. And when you get to 0, or you get to full damage, you will die and you will perish. Additionally, if you're out in the snow, your temperature will drop. If it gets too low, you will freeze to death. You will find heaters around in the area, or just going inside when the power is on will help warm you up so you can't spend too much time outside. You will find items like vaccines that will remove the infection if you have it, items that heal you like these pill heals, these painkillers will help remove some of the damage you take. And of course, as outside of the normal place that you can use for gas, you can also find these gas tanks that help fill you up. The only way to know for sure whether you're infected are these little test tubes here. If you've seen the Thing movie, you'll have to take your blood, put it inside, and zap it with this to see if it's there. It takes a little bit of damage on you. You can see my paper doll went up. It'll drop the blood in, and it'll zap it. And if you're not infected, it'll let you know. It'll also tell everyone else in the match that you're not infected as well. You'll also find these terminals, and this is how you check to see if you are infected, the status of other players. You'll be able to come here, go to status report. This will lead how many materials you finished, like how many objectives you completed. All the players in the match will list, and then also whether they're alive or dead, and if they're infected or not, and what their current status is. You can't check this any other way. You have to go to the terminal to do it. You can also look to see how long until the whole map gets blown up. And if you are ready to extract, you need to hit this extraction button. This will call the helicopter. You hit yes or no, and it'll call the helicopter to the current location that you're at. Once this starts, the helicopter will show up in 2 minutes, and players have to get to the helicopter and escape. If they don't make it in time, it's all over. You'll want to pay close attention to the vending machines in the game as well. This is how you get your perks on level up as well. Every point of interest will have at least one of these somewhere. You walk up to these and it will randomly generate a perk that you can add to your character, which gives you a whole bunch of really nice things, and you can stack these up as well. So this one just gives me the first helicopter airplane you enter has 200% more fuel. So we can equip this and stack it to us, and we have it for this current life, and we can go from place to place getting these perks. Some of these get very strong. On the main menu for customization, you can unlock skins and emotes using the points you earn in game, but you can also unlock perks. This whole tree has all the perks available. This isn't unlocking these for you to use. These are unlocking these in the pool to be coming out of the vending machines in game. So as you get points, just start buying these if you want. Unlock all of them. There's some really good ones in here. And once these are all unlocked, any one of these can roll out of the vending machines anytime you go to one in game. A couple functionalities that you can use in game. If you press 1 on PC, it allows you to emote. If you press 3, you will whistle. This is an easy way to call dogs to you. It also let players know that you're nearby, and it will also trigger monsters as well. If there's any monster lurking near in the area, you can whistle to call attention, which might be able to drag it away from a teammate that might be trapped inside trying to hide from it, which gives you that option as well. And one of the most important aspects is if you press 2 on PC while looking at the ground, it will mark that area, and players can always see the mark from anywhere as long as they're within like 1,000 meters of it, which means that it lets people know that you're alive, you're near this spot, and they can come to you if you're trying to get their attention if they're outside of proximity chat range. Once an area is fully completed, like we just did the airport, all this is done, you just want to move on to the next one, and just be mindful of moving between POIs at night, because that's when the monsters are going to be most active, and also the ground worms that will take you as well. And again, I will remind you to follow the posted signs. You will be able to see what POI is coming up by looking at these signs. Follow these markers, because when you go out into the blizzard, it's impossible to see anything. There'll be monsters out there as well, and at nighttime you can't see anything. And on top of that, there's going to be lots of unfamiliar and dangerous terrain. Your best bet is to follow the signs, follow the lights from each POI to the next, so that you don't actually get caught in a trap, fall in a ravine, go off a cliff, or run into a wall, or get trapped out in the snow unable to escape. Another tip is to turn the engine off of any vehicle you're using. You do this with I on PC while you're in it. You'll notice if I get off the snowmobile here, the engine is still running. You will want to get in it and turn the engine off so that it is not running, it's not consuming fuel, you're good to go, and you can save that for later. You also want to be careful because there are traps, mines that you can turn off, and random explosions and dangers in each POI, so just be very careful when you're navigating in areas. You'll discover these on your own. Keep in mind that these tripwires as well, you'll need to aim at them to turn them off like this. If the generator goes out and power gets restored, they will be restored as well. You can actually turn these off so you can get by them. They will insta-kill you if you walk through them. However, if you know that the players that are infected, they're going to come kick the generator, and you turn the generator back on, these will be re-enabled. You can use these to survive the night as well. Just re-enable them, get inside, and while they're guarding the door, you can guard the door as well, trying to survive the dark night. And lastly, I'll leave you some tips on actually playing as the infected player version. The big thing is you want to transform into the more powerful version of yourself as soon as possible. So when you get turned into a head crab, either by dying while infected or another player converted you after dying, you just want to make sure that you get far enough away from other players so you can transform and come back as a more powerful version. The next thing is to use your infrared vision to set up. Keep in mind that if a player has a lot of weapons, they will be able to take you out. It takes about 4 shotgun shots to completely kill you as an infected player, and if you die as an infected player, you're over, that's it, it's done. So the best thing you want to do is you have 2 attacks. You have a right mouse for a lunge attack, which does decent damage, and your left attack is an attack that will knock the player down and will do some damage to them. However, it has a pretty long cooldown. I think it's about 10 seconds, so you can't just spam it to knock them down over and over, but you do want to track the player, get close to them, wait to see what they're going to do, follow them, do a left click attack to knock them down and do some damage, and then run away if you can. And just be wary that you can catch them when they're on a vehicle. You can follow them, you can set up on certain things, use the infrared to get right on top of them, and wait for your moment to strike, because again, if they have a flamethrower, if they have any perks for offense, they have some very good weapons like magnums or shotguns or frag grenades, they're going to be able to destroy you quite easily. So there's strength in numbers, and wait for a moment when they're weak, doing an objective or something like that. But that's it. That's how to play Nuclear Nightmare. I know a lot of the systems are in the game, but they're not well explained, so hopefully this helped you jump into the game. If you have tips for other players in jumping into this game, drop those down below in the comments. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.